G'day, legends. It's That Aussie Metal Guy here with Crannk.com. Today, tonight, this morning, wherever you are in the world, I'm joined by an absolute true guitar icon and one of heavy music's most unmistakable voice, the one and
Yeah.
only Zakk Wylde of Black Label
Cheers, my brother. Happy
Society.
Easter, man. What are you doing, buddy?
Happy Easter, brother. It is Easter in the US, man. Happy Easter. Thank you
Yes.
very much, mate. Hope you're having a great one. Thank you so very much for taking some time to chat with me, mate. This is an absolute pleasure. I have all your albums, have been a fan forever. The Engines of Demolition is an absolute fucking ripping album. It's been built across a pretty long stretch of time. Now that it's out in the world, does it feel like one complete statement to you, or more like several chapters of your life colliding into one record?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, to me, it's just like, you know, what's the difference between this and all the other records? It's just, I made the last album on Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. So, yeah, I mean, to me, it's another record. So, it just the joy of writing songs and recording. You get excited, you just having a great time. So, you know, I think you ask anybody, any band or any songwriter, it's the fun of just recording and taking the seed of an idea and then it just growing into an oak tree, and then you listen to the finished thing and you're like, wow, that came out pretty cool. So, um, yeah, I mean, because I think all the other albums, when I listen back to any of the other ones, I mean, that's where we were at that time. So, for everybody, like I just always say, like with Zeppelin, they needed to do one, two, and three to get the Zeppelin four, with Stairway to Heaven and Black Dog and everything on it, and going to California. Otherwise, they would have made that record first. They weren't there yet. So you got to go through all this stuff to get to where you're going. So nothing is ever a loss. You know what I mean? That would be like saying that it was a loss. It was a waste of time doing the first three Zeppelin records. It's just like I love all those records. So, but the fourth one, I get it. The stars aligned and the production, the songs, and everything. So it, but the journey to get there is never a waste because you need to go through that to get to where you got to go.
Exactly, and you guys have always had that balance between the absolute, well, everything starts and ends with the riff, of course, but you have those really heartfelt, soul-crushing moments, which I love with Black Label Society. It's like two sides of the coin when you put on an album. Like I love the tracks like Lord Humongous, Name and Blood, the heavier tracks, but I also love the real heartfelt tracks like Better Days and Wiser Times and Broken Pieces and all these tracks that really make you feel that emotion as well, and both sides of the coin. But you guys always really capture those moments so fucking well.
I mean, the first Black Label song I ever wrote was "Spoken to Wheel," and
Yep.
that's an acoustic track. So, I mean, no, it's just my love for the Eagles. And, when Neil Young's doing Heart of Gold and Helpless, and, listening to the Stones doing Wild Horses, Memory Motel, Let It Loose. I love all the mellow stuff just as much as I love, when Sabbath does Supernaut. I love listening when they're doing Changes. I love the mellow stuff just as much as I love the heavy stuff. So, yeah, it's my love for that. So once you get tired of doing the heavy stuff a little while, you sit behind a piano or pick up an acoustic, it's a whole nother world.
Oh yeah, it most definitely is. And Better Days and Wiser Times. I just mentioned that track. I love the solo on that as well. It kind of has that lap steel kind of mindset, and I was reading
Totally.
through it as
Yeah,
well,
like
dude.
David.
What
Yeah,
drew you to
David.
that track, man?
Yeah, it's like David Lindley, like Jackson Brown kind of thing. David Lindley was the king of that. So, without a doubt, man.
Yeah, and did that song always need that more reflective feel from the start as well?
Yeah, totally. I think I probably wrote that definitely wrote it on an acoustic,
Yeah.
or I either just wrote it with my electric with it unplugged, just sitting at the kitchen table having a cup of Odin Force, just writing something mellow. But yeah, I love it. And I love the sound of pedal steel, and I love, it's just me emulating pedal steel on the guitar. So, with a volume pedal and then doing, with slide and bends and stuff like that. But like the solo on that, that's actually on my Warhammer using a vibrato bar. I'm not bending any notes really, so it's just like, to kind of recreate like a David Lindley, Jackson Brown kind of thing.
Yeah, it has an amazing feel to it. When you're building a Black Label Society, especially this one, how do you balance having those songs mapped out versus leaving room for that in the room magic once you guys are together and feeding off each other as well?
I mean, well, usually, I mean, like pretty much every time when we do a Black Label album, it's an implosion of ideas,
Yeah.
and then there you have it. So almost kind of like, with Sabbath, with Sabbath when they did Paranoid, they had the 8 songs, and it was like we need 5 more minutes, and like we don't have any more songs. It was like, well, I'll make a food run, see what you can come up with, and then next thing you know, I come back and you got the riff for Paranoid, and then you got the music. Then Ozzy sings a melody over it. Then Geezer writes the lyric, and Bill comes in with his amazing drumming, and then you got this song that never existed half an hour ago. So, something has to be said for that. So, I mean, like when I wrote Stillborn or Suicide Messiah, I think we went into the studio. A lot of times we went in the studio with nothing and just started writing as soon as we get in there. So, um, because everything sounds great and it's just it's contagious as far as being creative. Just the creative juices start flowing, and everything sounds good and it's exciting. So, for me, if you're in there writing songs and you start writing knocking on heaven's door, all I'm going to do is press record. I mean, I'm not going to get in the way. If you just start writing that, I'm like, what is that? And you're like, I just came up with it about 10 minutes ago. I'll go, we should record that. And then you put a melody to it, and then you start coming up with these lyrics, and I'm like, wow, that came out really great. So, uh, yeah, that's the beauty. I think if you ask anybody, any band or anybody that writes, songwriter, that's the joy of writing songs. It's the magic of it. It's awesome.
Yeah, and Name and Blood is a real bloody statement opener. I love the way that just fucking kicks into the start of the album. What made that the right track to kind of lead into this album with?
I think that song might have been around in the beginning sessions when we started doing when the guys came out to the Black Vatican, when we started
Oh
doing
yeah.
the first started the record. Because originally the album was going to be done, and after we did Pantera Celebration for over a year, after all these shows, then we were going to put a Black Label album out. But then, Philip and Rex were like, "Hey, fellas, you want to go back out some more?" I was like, me and Charlie were like, "Of course, whatever you guys want to do." Because it's an honor celebrating Dime and Vinny and Philip and Rex with this awesome community that they created.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, it was like, yeah, whatever you want, let's go back out again. So we'd go back out again, then we'd come back home, and I'd have a batch of new songs. So it was just like have the fellas come back out to the Vatican, we'd record some more, go back out with Pantera Celebration. So this happened for over the next 3.5 years. So, so we were just stockpiling songs. But I think Name and Blood was probably one of the first groups of ideas that we tracked at the Vatican. So, and then it got morphed into where it ended up. But yeah, so and here we are.
Yeah, and what an amazing run of shows those Pantera ones. The one in Adelaide here was just absolutely amazing show. Such a fucking so well done they were done. Must have been great to really
Yeah,
be a
the
part of that,
fellas.
dude.
Yeah, I think Philip and Rex did an amazing job with the crew from hell. Putting together the montages of Dime and Vinny and all the songs, and touching on all the records and everything like that, and the set list and everything. Philip and Rex did an amazing job. And me and Charlie are just honored to be up there every night, honoring our buddies. And what Philip, Rex, Dime, and Vinny, this beautiful thing that they created, that everybody, all the Pantera faithful, gets a trip to take, you know, a trip down memory lane. For all the people that saw them when they were playing bar and grills with 8 people there, to the people that have never heard any of these songs live. Like they're like, oh, my father and my uncle used to tell me about the legend of Pantera and everything like that. So for them to experience it, I think it's a great thing. It reminds me of like when I do experience Hendrix.
Yep.
There's people that are there that have actually seen Jimi Hendrix back in the day, and then you have all the younger kids that are celebrating Jimmy's greatness and his music through, Eric Johnson, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Kingfish, and all the guitar players that are on that thing, and we're all celebrating Jimmy. So it's great.
Yeah, Charlie was just here with Anthrax. So I wasn't going to mention it, but you played with some great people. You also, speaking of Dime, mutual friend Lenny Sirozzi from the Infinite Staircase. You actually played on the Pride track with JD and with Jeff from Candlebox as well. Really, really cool guy, man. It's good to see.
Yeah, yeah,
The
the guys
three,
are all great.
yeah, man. He told me a couple of cool Dime stories. Really, really great guy, man. I won't mention him here, but awesome guy, man. It was so good to see everything roll out for this. And another great legend, the Aussie track, mate. That was the only way you could possibly finish this album for sure. What a fucking emotional track, not only for yourself, but for all the fans out there listening to it.
Yeah, you got to save the best for last. There you go.
Exactly, mate. When people sit down with Engines of Demolition from front to back, what do you hope they come away with most?
Gonorrhea, syphilis, and herpes. I'm thinking, yeah,
And
but just pour some beer on it, you'll be fine, or some
or
Odin
coffee,
Force.
or some coffee. I
Yeah,
don't drink anymore, mate, because for the
pour some
non-drinking,
Valhalla job on it, you'll be
Valhalla
fine. Don't worry,
Java.
just shake it off, you'll be good.
Damn straight, mate. Peanut butter, chocolate, and Valhalla coffee,
Yeah,
mate.
you know it.
Looking ahead, what would it mean for you and the band to get Black Label Society back down under in front of the Aussie fans again?
Well, we plan on doing it for sure.
Yeah.
So we're doing, we're out here right now rolling throughout the states, and I guess we're getting ready to do some cruises, which are always a great time.
Oh,
And then I think we're going over to Europe after that. Obviously, we're doing some shows, Pantera Celebration with Metallica over there, and then we're doing some solo shows. But then after that, I guess we'll be. Hopefully, we go down. We'll see everybody in Australia, New Zealand, and then go over to Asia. With the Japanese chapters over there, and then all throughout Asia.
side note, I was watching this American who was a comedian over in Australia going on about how good the coffee culture is here in Australia compared to the US. Is that true, man?
Oh, what, the coffee you're
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, the
Uh,
coffee. Besides
no,
yours,
without
of
a,
course.
no, without a doubt. But I've experienced great coffee all around the world, though. I mean,
Yeah.
if I can't get my own force, it's just like, yeah, it's awesome.
Zakk, mate, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute privilege to chat with you. The new Black Label Society album, Engines of Demolition, is out now. You want to going to get this and crank it for the neighbours. They are going to want to hear this. Before we let you go, mate, I always like to leave the final words with the artist.
All right, my brother. Great talking to you, brother. Happy Easter, buddy.
Absolute pleasure. Happy
Cheers, my
Easter.
brother.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.